Mushroom, mushroom. 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 Hello guys. How you doing? Took me a second to go live because I was looking for blocks of ice in our humble abode to get my palette to hopefully be a tiny little bit more moist, because as the ice evaporates it gives me a small cloud of humidity, hopefully, for the paint to work on it, because today has been tragic in terms of paint drying on my palette. This is the puppet I'll be working on today. The reason why is because I haven't gotten the box yet. Justin just told me that they're shipping it today. So by next week, we'll have new puppets to paint. Hopefully the same one that Anne was working on, because I wanna paint that one as well. And so yeah, today we're gonna be working on this lady, because I have to finish her by Saturday. So the only thing that is actually finished is the face, pretty much. Everything else is still a work in progress. I worked on a bunch of things today. I gave her some see-through effect, kinda, that I'm still having to finish up. Because I wanted to look like she's coming out of a murky water kind of thing, being the Lady of the Lake. So that's where we are. I have a colder side here that again is just sketched in to make it look like the blade is casting a light against her body, and then shadows and stuff. There's a gap here that I need to fill, but it's for a show and also a ship out, in a sense that I have to send it to my client, but if I can finish it by Saturday, that's great, because I can enter it in a competition as well. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to ship it without competition. Which show? The Madrid model show. It's happening this weekend. I don't know how big of a painting competition it will be, but it does have a master category for fantasy, and it does have judges that are really good painters, so I'm looking forward to participate and see what happens. I don't think I'll do too well, but we'll see. So, what do we work on? I think I could work on... I need to work on the skin, to be fair. The skin sounds like a good place to work on. Good thing to work on. So let's do that. Let's do that. But yeah, that's kind of the idea. I'm glad you're getting it twisted. The idea that I mean, all of my women's tend to have a face that is kind of like pissed off at you, but this one is intentional, at least. Like, I want her to look like she's not very happy with us and dislikes us very much. So hopefully these ice blocks are gonna help, man, because it's been a very, very frustrating day for my painting. So let's hope they work. Let's all cross our little hooves. And it works. It is getting, I think, colder a little bit because it is evening here. It's 8 p.m. I'm using So Flat from Golden. Like, you talk a lot about Chimera paints, which is good. But if you want, in my opinion, a better Chimera paint, these ones. How hot is it? 25 degrees Celsius, but it's not really the heat. It's more like the dry air that is really, really annoying to deal with. These paints have like insane coverage. Like, I can show you the red. I mean, they have cadmiums. This red is not a cadmium, it's a pyrrole, but like over black. So they do the same thing Chimera does with the coverage of the paint, but the paint doesn't really dry gray. Because like frosting is very much a thing with Chimera paints, and that doesn't really happen with these paints. And also they cover like crazy, and they also thin very well, because I know you like paints that can thin out well. And I mean, I guess you can't match Reaper or hobby paints for thinness, but these paints really give you lots of coverage. And for the sketching, depending on how you paint, because like I think you and I paint very differently. You work up the paint job a lot, while I sketch it a lot. So for the sketching stage, especially, these paints are fucking amazing, because they give you all you need without much of a worry. And also the colors are very pure. So you can do, for example, like right now, I am pretty much using a Zorn palette for the skin, and I can do it because the colors I'm using are actually the Zorn palette, not a random yellow and a random red with God knows what's inside of it. So that's pretty nice. Wow, my paints are already dried. It's incredible. Like, it's straight up incredible. The paints that I have on the palette are already drying out. So this color here is, I mean, I'm working on like the deepest shadow on the skin. I don't like heavy body paints. Well, a Zorn palette is a palette of color that is doesn't really use much colors in its mixtures, but will derivate everything off of a red, like an intense red, an intense yellow, and black and white. Which means that by using a palette like this, you maintain coherency across all colors that you're going to be using, and you have a giant amount of space to work with the colors, because red...
In time, you will know
Sorry.
the massive extent of my bippity.
That's a follow my channel. I mean, thank you for following that. Red acts like a purple. I have a purple on the palette because it just gives me more room to work with the color. But like, even without the purple on my palette, I could still mix a purple. I can show you. If you get red and you add black to it, you get a dark red. But this dark red, you can reveal the purple in it by adding white. And you don't get like straight up pure purple, of course, but you get a color that is acting as a stand-in to purple. So you can get some really strong contrast with this palette because you have yellow and kinda purple working in it. So if you want color contrast, you can get it. But the most important thing is that you get harmony. And when you're working on a skin tone, harmony is everything because you are like a very high quality skin tone will use a lot of different versions of color in it. And that means that if you use different pots of paint to make a skin tone, you are actually making it harder for yourself to get a good skin tone. Because as you use different pigments and different colors, you end up using stuff that doesn't have much harmony, and that will lead to a bunch of problems in the paint job. So making sure that your painting is harmonious is a very good thing. And you get color harmony truly only when you use the same pigments. So this color is a bit on the orangey side. And the saturated, adding a bit of black. Also, working like this really makes you focus on color and the various possibilities you get by mixing it. But again, it's for display painting, so I don't know if they have a unique teal, but when it comes to miniature, to paints for mini painting, I think these are the best in terms of artist paints. I really dislike working with heavy bodies. Heavy body paints don't belong in miniature painting. They just don't. Because the paints are meant to be used thickly. But if you do it on a miniature, like, it just looks terrible. So you want paints that have a lot of flatness to themselves, in the sense that when they dry, they don't dry chalky and they give you softness. And these paints actually do that. And you can see that even though they are high coverage paints, if I thin them, they work pretty well as a thin paint. So that's pretty cool. Like a heavy body paints used at miniature painting consistency is nothing but a chalky paint that doesn't do much. Because heavy body paints don't have coverage. They just don't cover if you thin them. And so if you thin a heavy body to a mini painting consistency, then it's not gonna cover. And like, that's something that I've always argued with, especially with Italian painters, because Italian painters, at least back when I was still in Italy, would use heavy bodies a lot. And I always was like, why though? Because I never really felt the reasoning behind it to be solid. And again, these paints work really well even at low thinness, so. Here I'm somewhat sketching, somewhat blending at the same time. The paint is not exactly perfectly thinned out to do some true smooth blending. I'm just looking for the shapes. I use the heavy body paints if there's a pigment color I particularly like in that line, but I cut with MSP usually. Yeah, like heavy body paints, there's one of them from Liquitex that is really nice as a glaze for cold golds, which is like an ochreish color that really works well. But you can easily mix this with these paints as well. So like, for example, that same cold greenish color that you get from Liquitex, you get it by adding a touch of black to the cadmium yellow. And this color, if you glaze it over a non-metallic gold, it will look very intense, like very vibrant, you know? So you can literally mix any color you want off of these colors, like literally, because the paints are pure. So you're not dealing with random pigments doing stuff that doesn't make any sense. And again, the only negative positive thing is that you have the cadmium in there. So don't lick the brush, don't touch your skin with the paint if possible, because you will die. Like in the sets that I have a couple of cadmium paints. The red is just insane. Like the cadmium red, what is the guy? The cadmium red really looks intense. So if you want saturation, it's really freaking strong as a color. Not that you can't get it with normal mini painting paints, but with a normal mini painting paints, you have to layer into Oblivion and then glaze a bunch. With this, you just base coat it. I'm making it sound a lot easier than it is, though. Like, using these paints is not exactly the easiest thing to do. They are very difficult to control. But if you do manage to control them, they can be very good. And again, you can see that as I do layering, just apply a little layer and let it dry. The paint is working pretty nice. It's not giving me any chalky brush strokes or anything like that. So as a supplement, if you want like heavy paints that can cover nicely but also kind of glaze or at least a layer, as a supplement to your Reaper paints, which you should own the entire range of anyway because they are great paints, I like these ones a lot. Also, personally, for my way of thinking about color, I find myself I'm way better off mixing all of the colors than I am using pre-mixed colors, because pre-mixed colors confuse me a lot. Like, I have a very I'm not rough as a painter because I can smooth blend into Oblivion if I want. Like, this is as blend as it can get. But like, what I mean is that I am a fairly rough painter. So color harmony is very, very important for me. Okay, so we got like a pretty brownish color there, which we can saturate and lighten up. See, like, this is like this gesture that I'm doing now of just moving a value and adding color to the value, for me works so much better than just adding a different pot of paint. But again, it's just a personal thing. So the skin here is a bit reddish, but I do like the more ochreish tint that I have going on right now. So I can just add this color in. It doesn't matter if I'm painting over an area that I've already painted because the value is the same. So as long as you got the same values, you can replace a color and nobody will even see it. Enjoyed your time with the puppy. Give her a kiss from me. Thank you. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask. I'll be ecstatic to answer them if I can. Seems like these little blocks of ice are actually doing their job a little bit. We'll find out in a few minutes. Although the purple is already dried out. So the light is coming from this direction, so I do... Like, it's gonna be weaker on the other shoulder, but I do still need to show some light in there. So this color will be is my midtone pretty much on the skin. So from this color that I just mixed now, I can derivate all of the other colors that I have that I will need. Like, how much in depth do you want me to go with these artsy explanations? Please let me know, because I can fill your head with words if you would like. But I also don't want to bore people. Well, okay, so what is a midtone? A midtone is a very important thing, and in miniature painting, in the world of guides, people tend to consider the midtone the base coat. Like, imagine, like, you know, like a Warhammer guide, right? They will base coat the mini in a color and then wash it and then highlight it, and then it will be done. Artistically speaking, the midtone is a completely different thing. The midtone is the color of the object in light turning into shadow, which is a lot harder to understand. But like, basically, every object has its own, what's called in art, local color. Local color is the color of the object if it was in space or in a room without anything in it, just like a white room with a diffused, uncolored light. So apples are red, for example. The thing is, you never, in your waking world, you never see the local color of things. Because lighting, bounce lights, ambient light, All of these things are gonna modify that color into being more like they are, especially sunlight does that a lot. Now, that's not entirely true that sunlight doesn't always colors things, because sunlight can have a weak and or uncolored lighting, especially at noon. Tends to bluish actually. But anyway, so when you're working, when I work, what I do, I imagine the color of the thing that I'm gonna be painting. So like, what is the local color? In my head though, I don't really paint that color. But like, you know, skin, like Caucasian skin is, depending on how pale I want it to be, is gonna be a specific color and a specific value. Well, what happens to that color is that in light, it will increase in brightness, and it will also be tinted slightly towards the color of the light source. Which means, as you look at this lady, you are not actually seeing the real skin tone of this lady in any area. Because the lighting, be it because there is no light, so shadow, or the light because the sunlight is illuminating her, they're always gonna pull the color of the skin a bit towards its direction. So the real color of the skin is invisible in the paint. The areas where we can show it a little bit more is the mid-tone, because that's where light doesn't have as much strength to influence the color, illuminating it and tinting it. So the color will be less influenced by the light. In those areas, you can have more of the local color present. So in this case, I'm like, my local color is something like this. Like, this is the color of the skin, more or less. Like a brownish ochre, it doesn't matter. From this color, I derivate all of my lights, because the highlights are this color with light added to it, and my shadows too. But when it comes to actually seeing it on the paint job, you don't see it much, because it's either light or it's shadow, and the mid-tone is just a very small area of transition from one to the other. And like, these guys are a very good example of that, because like, you can tell that the armor is red on this dude, but when it comes to actual red on this mini, there is almost none of it. Like, this guy is mostly painted in oranges, whites, yellows, magentas, blacks. The actual pure red is very, very small, but because it is placed in the right spots, your eye looks to that minuscule spots and goes, okay, so that's a red armor. And that's how you paint, really. If you insist too much on showing the real color of the object in your painting, it will be kind of flat. If you don't show it, it will look washed out. So like, if you show the local color too much, what happens is that you are making it look like it's an overcast situation, where light is very weak and it's not very direct, which is making everything look a bit washed out. If you don't show it at all, then you have too much light showing, and it's gonna feel like you don't have enough light, and you will end up pushing your highlights into pure white on everything you paint. So this little strip of color that I'm painting now, I'm insisting on working it as best as I can, because it's so freaking important. It is probably the most important part of the paint job. Now, depending on which lighting you go for and how much space you have to work on, you can play more with the midtones. They don't have to be just one color. And also, objects have different local colors depending on where they are, skin tones especially. where the bone is pushing through the skin, you will have a more yellowish color to the skin. Where the bone is more fat, has more fat covering it, you will have more red colors present. So that's another difficulty to the whole thing, because you're dealing also with different local colors. So yeah, it can get really freaking difficult. That said, in the world of mini painting, the only painter that thinks about this different local color effect thing and actually does it successfully is Kirill Kanaev. Nobody else does it. So if you don't want to do it, you're not alone, because only the best in the world does it. Okay. I do like that it's looking a bit greener in these areas. Again, showing the different possible colors on the skin. And I can kind of do whatever I want as long as I show a mid-tone that is coherent with the skin. I don't want to sell out, but if you do like these kind of explanations and explanation of the thought process, my Patreon is entirely like these last 10 minutes of stream. Like my guides on Patreon are exactly like this. Only you get like 7 hours a month of it. Again, I don't want to sell anything. You guys do you. Yeah, you should have. I might even watch it with the sound on one day. I wonder how many people actually just watch me paint because they cannot stand when I speak. And just keep me muted. Like, ah yeah, the guy paints well, but man, when he speaks, I wish I could just fucking hit him with a brick. I think the number is above 0 for sure. Oh, definitely, Erkan. Wanting to hit you with a brick whenever you talk is what being a paka is all about. It is. It is. I think you keep getting better. I wish I could speak another language so well. I do practice every day, but you have talent. Thank you. Wait, getting better at what? Speaking English? I thought you meant painting. Okay, this color can be a little bit more saturated. I'm constantly checking the model under room light because my desk light is not like a room light. My desk light is actually a bit too good for what I need it to do. So I need to make sure that my model looks good also under bed lighting, because otherwise there is no point. Hello, Gallo. How you doing, dude? Yeah. Spanish is fun. It's a bit of a weird language, though. Makes no sense sometimes. So the resin pour didn't go too well, but I think I can fix what didn't go well. Hello, baby. Man, that sucks, quindi. I'm so sorry. Quindly, how does the goatee look? You didn't tell me anything about the goatee, dude. How does the goatee look? Ah, that's true. That's true. You have the face thing. No, don't worry. I'm not gonna shave it off. Quindly, were you the one that liked Pete Morbacher? I don't remember if it was you or if it was another Paca. She loves it, yeah. Okay, you probably don't. Pete Morbacher. It's an artist that does angels looking in a bit more of a fantasy, sci-fi kind of way. To the artist. Yeah, Mindwork did one. Well, something funny happened on Twitter the other day. He posted a picture of the artwork that they did of that he did of that mini, and one of the Pacas wrote a comment in the Twitter post he did saying, "Oh, I watched Miniatures then paints the miniature version of this mini, and it was a blast." He checked me out, gave me a follow on Twitter, and then messaged me asking me if I was interested in doing a box art for him for a new mini he's releasing himself, which was freaking incredible. It is, yeah. I don't know. Has he messaged you, Joe, about the thing with the casting thing? Oh yeah. Is this the Lady of the Lake? Yes. It is the Lady of the Lake. Thank you. Okay, nice. This mini is so much work. Yeah, that was a fun model, man. Yeah, just looking to get some sort of a gradient to happen between shadow and light. Yeah, that would be nice to actually have a chat with you. Again, I'm still sketching here, by the way, because like this is not an easy gradient to do, and I think I'm better off just blocking it in as hard as I can rather than try to layer it. Because I'm working with paints that lose saturation very easily if you layer them. Well, not the paints, it's the colors. Skin tones. Skin tones should be layered, but only on top of a base coat that has somewhat the same color, because otherwise just becomes very, 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 very gray. Because if you have a darker color underneath, then what happens is that your skin tone just picks up that color and looks very gray. That's what was happening here. Actually, it's been working on my witch lady. Ah. Yeah, I'm here whenever you need help or just want to show it. I'm very glad, Pindley. Yeah, do that. I'll be here when you need me. Consider this is a slow process. To be fair though, I haven't done the sketching as well as I should have, because if I had worked a little bit more on the sketch, it would have been way faster. Kind of over focused on getting in there out of the gate, and that was a mistake. Okay, so let's sketch a bit more. Let's just go for an orangish yellow kind of tint here. Because like the color is graying out. Some bug bit me yesterday and got infected. Shit, that sucks, dude. How infect? Like, how bad? I haven't seen the first either. Not too interested in it, to be honest. Yeah, you should definitely have it checked. I'm pretty sure this model will lead me to the greatest burnout of my painting career. I have this suspicion. Thank you, Lethal. How you doing, dude? Hola, amore. Oh, me has comprado dos dominos. Gracias, porque lo necesito. Esa mini me está jodiendo la vida. No sé. No sé.
Sí,
No sé. No soporto. Gracias, dame un besito. Ah, I'm so lucky, dude. She brought me candies. Yeah, dude. Busy as hell, loving this painter, but some more. Thank you. She is a lot of work. A lot of work. I just want to finish her, though. Just want to finish her. But, man, the more I paint her, the more it feels like I have to paint her. It's just like a curse. It's not really a paint job anymore. Yeah, your superpower would be that frogs wanna eat you. So yeah, after the stream, what I'm gonna do, by the way, is I'm gonna look for the humidifier we have in the house and see if I can hook it up and hopefully help with the room. Weren't you expecting to see a miniature on a mini painting stream? I'm just checking the colors off camera, like I said earlier. This model is playing a lot of tricks on my mind, man. When I finish it, I will be a hero. Because I am so done with it. Like this is when I don't really miss it, but like this is where I kind of envy people that do this for a hobby, because you don't have to finish a mini you find out you don't like. Oh, like coquetine. Especially with all my paints drying at the speed of light on my palette, it's incredible how quickly they're drying. I don't even finish mini I like. Why do you have to finish her? Well, first off, she's a commission. So I need the client to have her. But also, I would like to enter her in a painting competition that is happening this weekend. And because of that, not only do I need to finish her at some point, I need to finish her very soon. I mean, I usually do well under stress, but it's just that with the paint drying so quickly on the palette, I'm having a very hard time. Like, I'm working with subpar paints. Well, what is missing to do is not that difficult painting-wise. So I should be able to get it done. It's like all I have to do really is paint this side of the hair, clean up the OSL, just like small things, and then add the watery effect. So if tomorrow, instead of doing the Patreon video, I do this, and Friday I do this, I should be good to go. That's a lot of hours of work that I am gaining. The biggest difficulty is getting the skin right. I'm definitely gonna be working on this all night. Or at least until I drop dead. Let me just quickly check for values. Like, I'm having a bunch of doubts here, and let's just look at the values 1 second. No, the values seem to be correct. More or less. More or less. It's just like a saturation problem with the colors. Okay. It's getting what I want it to be. Taking long enough, but we're getting it. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. just very frustrating to do this. I wish I had like a Reaper Mini to be working on. Trust me, I wish. Would have been good also as a palette cleanser after doing all of this work on this lady. No, it's not the painting things the problem is. The problem is that I am frustrated beyond the imagination. And like you probably can tell. I mean, I haven't been very frustrated lately. I've been a good boy. I've been challenged by a paint job. Like, had issues getting it where I wanted it, but like, frustrated. It's been a while. You guys aren't funny. Dude, I'm working with dry paints. I'm gonna have to call the stream short. I'm very sorry. But all my paints are drying. I need to go set up a humidifier or something. This is just not happening. Like, my mixtures are drying the moment I make them. Like, what the heck am I supposed to do? Man, this is gonna be a problem, dude. Like, I need to find a way to fix this, because if I have to live like this, shit. I'm gonna have to start using oil paints, man, just to paint. Sorry, boys. I'll be seeing you next week, though. So you take care of yourselves and have a fantastic rest of your day, alright? I'll be seeing you later. Bye-bye. Gonna try to fix this humidifier.